What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back for my team, episode number 18 for the US Grand Prix. The first, well, one of 3 US Grand Prix. It is pretty ridiculous. Where's the UK getting their second Grand Prix, eh? When is it happening? Although knowing F1 is probably not too far away. Anyway, welcome guys to another episode. Today we are delving deep into this title fight that I have in my dreams every night when I go to bed, hoping that I can win a championship in Season 1. It is a pipe dream right now. We are 7th best car, 7th worst car, whatever you want to call it. We have a lot of development work to do to get in the fight, to be in the mix for winning races in this series. But, you know, we're real and truly punching above our weight. We always have been, and I feel like we might always will be. I hope. But if other teams start to focus on next season and we keep developing, then anything is possible. If we keep upgrading the chassis, those upgrades stay on for next season. So that's what we're going to try and do, while also doing a little bit of work in the background to maybe save some upgrades for next season. It is all up in the air at this stage. But in the meantime, we're working away at the factory, trying to optimize all of the staff members, all of the parts we've got coming in, all of the operations at Marduk Motorsport. We are going great guns at the moment. We have been slowed a little bit in terms of development. We've had some failures here or there. The regulation changes certainly throwing a spanner into the works for our approach for next season. But for now, we're going to keep upgrading and see what we can do. Unfortunately, a failure there for the engine side. Only 137 points to amend that for Mexico. I think that's a bit of a no-brainer. We will go for that. But yeah, we're going to closely monitor the performance of our car and our results, I guess, over the next race or two. And we'll make a judgment call as to whether we are any chance of winning the title. And, you know, if it doesn't make mathematical sense that we can do it, then we will focus on next year. I feel like with the amount of resource points we do have coming in, we can make a late call to save everything for next season, I think. So we'll see how we get on. But this is an important race weekend. We do have a sprint race, so extra points on offer. And, you know, if Qatar is anything to go by, then we had a sprint race there. We got big points on Ferrari, our rivals. If we can keep doing that again, then, you know, anything is possible. Development race, yeah, unfortunately, 7th worst car, maybe even 8th worst car. It's not great at this stage, but really, the performance index makes it look worse than what it actually is. The whole field is relatively quite close, apart from AlphaTauri at the back there. Sorry, Daniel Ricciardo. But, yeah, Ferrari now shoot to be the best car. Mercedes in the mix as well. McLaren make big inroads in this race weekend. But, yeah, we're hoping to get in that mix of the top 5 teams in the coming races. And if we can do that, then regular podiums should be the aim. Time for quali. All right, here we are for the race then, for the US Grand Prix in Cota. If you haven't already, please leave a like and subscribe. That would really help me out in the old YouTube algorithm and would allow me to make these videos until I say go grey, but I've already lost my hair, so yeah, good. Anyway, moving on, heading into turn 1, first lap of the day. And this has always been historically a circuit which has been marred with inconsistency, I think would be a good word to describe that. The AI are very strong here. Track grip can often be deceiving. It can always feel a little bit low around here. And for that reason in particular, the low mechanical grip around here has meant that my confidence has always been shaky around here. Online, though, this is a good track for me. I like racing against other people, but the AI are OP here for some reason. Anyway, P10 in our first run, and I think that's good enough to get us through to Q2. We're 7/10 up on our teammate Devin Butler in P17 at the moment, so I think with that knowledge, I think we're going to retire, as we always do, and move on to the next session, and we'll save this relatively new set of tyres that we've just used for Q2, and hopefully save a brand new set for the sprint race or for the main Grand Prix itself. So, fast forwarding time, and we end up... Oh no, not in Q2. It is P17 on the grid for this US Grand Prix. My teammate was miles behind me, 7/8 behind me, and I didn't think he had that time in him. He was 17th. He improves massively and demotes me into the drop zone. We miss out by 600ths of a second from making it into Q2. Our qualifying session is over, and unfortunately, this puts us on the back foot for the rest of the weekend. This is not the weekend that we needed to be at the back, because there's points on offer for the sprint, and I wanted to be up there with the Ferraris, mixing in with those guys, taking some points off them. But now, this weekend becomes very difficult with that in mind. At least we do have the sprint to move forward, to rectify our track position, but there are points on offer for that sprint as well. So, not ideal. Hopefully from here, we can move forwards and get in the top 10, top 8 rather, and set ourselves up for the main Grand Prix. But it's not an ideal start to the weekend, it must be said. If there is anything on our side, though, we do have a whole shed load of tyres in our tyre bank to use for the rest of the weekend. So we have flexibility. We can do softs, mediums, or hards to get through the sprint and then into the race. Then anything's possible. Weight reduction upgrades. Are we going to do that? Yes is the answer. That'll go on in time for Brazil, I believe. So there we go. That's the admin out of the way. We'll save resource points for another rainy day. But that's it for today in terms of qualifying. Time for the first sprint. See if we can get points.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend.
Let's hope it is, Crofty. Welcome to the grids of the US Grand Prix. Here at the circuit of the Americas, we are starting way down the field. P17 today, and a lot of work to do. Not a lot of time to get through the field as well. Race distance-wise, it's about the third of a length of a full length, or the main Grand Prix that we're going to be doing later on in this video. 10 laps to get through the field, and no strategy to really help dig us out of trouble. Now, we are flexible in our tyre bank. It's just a case of whether the tyres will go that fast. Softs can do the distance, but apparently they're a second slower. So we're going to go with the mediums for now, and we'll save those softs for the main Grand Prix. I'm thinking about maybe even doing a two-stop in the 50% race we've got coming up later. Potentially like soft, medium, soft, but we'll delve into that. Depending on how we get on in this race, it's also a good chance to see if the medium is a good race tire. Usually mediums are my favorite race tire to use universally, so we'll see how we get on in this race. But here we go. We have a lot of work to do in this sprint race. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the first part of racing this weekend. Good start compared to Yuki Tsunoda there. Heading into turn 1. Let's see if we can pick up Piastri, Butler, many other cars into turn 1. Very many cars getting bottled up behind each other, and we get up the inside of both the Alpines and inside the top 10. Fighting side by side with Ocon now. Ocon looking to close the door, and he very much does. Warning for track limits already in first, not even halfway through the first of 10 laps here. So already it's been a flying start, but slightly concerned about those track limit warnings. We will go full send in an effort to make up as many places as possible, but already it's been an incredible start. Let's see if we can follow this up with some more good driving as we go around the outside of Ocon there and pull off a worldie of a move into the top 9 now. Here's the replay from our onboard. Now, the logic here was that Ocon had to turn in for the corner at some point. And thankfully, we got that bang on perfect for his turning point. We slotted in around the outside, and it sets us up for this back straight because we get the slipstream on Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso as well up the inside, and that is 2 cars done on one straight. And that's all set up by that move around the outside of the Alpine driver. Absolutely huge moves on this first lap. And might I add, this is 110 AI. 110 AI. What a first lap. That's up there as one of the best first laps I think I've probably ever had in career mode. Full stop. So, yeah, great stuff there. I mean, I love that move on Ocon, by the way. Round the outside, we got the better exit, the better traction, and that set us up for 2 more moves. Love it. Anyway, lap 3. AI are settling into this race now, as you'd expect. Their pace is going to pick up a little bit. Now they're not so congested and everyone can get into their proper flow, proper rhythm, and burning that battery that they have. Absolutely no tyre conservation to be had in this race as we get a bit of slipstream on Max Verstappen. I'm hoping to get some slipstream off of Bottas as well as we go around the outside. Verstappen boxed in by the McLaren, and yeah, that's a nice little move there on the two-time world champion. But depending on when you're watching this, guys, he's probably already a three-time champ. So g'day to those late watchers who are watching late in 2023, maybe 2024, 2025 and beyond. How many people watch old career modes? It happens. Some people still going back and watching the 2019 career modes and stuff, which is absolutely mental. But hello to those people in the future. It is 2023, and today Lewis Hamilton just got pole for the first time in a year and a half. Lovely stuff. Anyway, we're now settling into this race quite nicely. Lap 4 of 10. Decent little gap there to Leclerc, which I'm a little bit concerned about my ability to close that. But we'll go full send. We are low on battery, and that's our second warning of this race. So I think that is probably going to kill the momentum we had in this mini Grand Prix and mean that we just have to settle for where we're at. Meanwhile, Kevin Magnussen with a retirement in the Alfa Romeo. Unfortunate there to see his race come to an early end. He will be starting last in the US Grand Prix. No safety car for us. That is very lucky not to get a track limits warning, but I guess I was going so slow that there was the stewards deemed that no time was gained there. So lucky to get away with that one. Round the outside goes the McLaren of Valtteri Bottas. Still so weird to see Bottas in a McLaren, but he seems to be doing fairly well in that machinery. Again, heading into this hairpin, which we seem to be very strong at. It's the tail end of the first sector. Those S's, especially that last left-hander, I'm particularly weak at. The tyres start to let go. Overheating becomes a bit of a thing. We are running, I guess, mid-level downforce. Maybe just not getting as much front grip as the AI are at this stage. 3 wide into the hairpin at the end of the back straight. Verstappen gets back ahead of Valtteri, but is unable to capitalize on us as well. 3 laps remaining in this one. Tyres are now over the 25% threshold, as you guys know, or maybe some of you don't know. 25% tyres on F123 is bad news. There's a big drop-off between 24 and 25%. From there, the drop-off is pretty gradual. Gradual. I can English. I'm Australian, it's fine. English is not my native language. As you can tell, last lap of the Grand Prix, Verstappen is on the move, burning all the ERS heading into turn 1. We just need to fend him off here, and the only other place we need to worry about is the back straight with that long DRS straight. Look at the understeer here. This is what's setting me up for, you know, being under pressure in this mid part of the lap. Just there's no front end purchase. We really do need downforce in this car. We do some clever tactics to get the DRS off of Verstappen. And there we go. That should relieve the pressure for the rest of the lap. Actually, we don't get DRS on Verstappen. But meanwhile, the race leaders are fighting away. This is Charles Leclerc, championship leader, getting ahead of one of the Mercedes cars. And puts a extra points buffer between myself and him in this race. Crossing the line now, George Russell of Ferrari wins the sprint here in Cota. And meanwhile, coming to us at the last corner, we get dive bombed by Alonso, who comes out of nowhere to steal. Actually, hold that. He doesn't steal the final point off of us.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
P5, I'm going to need a replay of that last lap. That was a little too close for comfort. Alonso came out of nowhere, really, and this is how he did it. He got ahead of Max Verstappen on the back straight with DRS, and now he's on an absolute charge. That Aston Martin must be good on their tyres, but his battery usage, well, he saved a lot of battery for the third sector. He was in overtake through all of the throttle sections of the track. Big lunge into the last corner. I had no choice but to leave him space. Thankfully, I had good traction out of the last corner, and that saved me. That kept P5 for me in this race. Had to leave the door open to Alonso, and it was literally a photo finish crossing the line. Only a nose ahead as we cross the line. That is a thumbnail right there. But yeah, that was a sprint, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. That was a very spicy race. An incredible start from us. Undoing the damage done in qualifying. Settling into the race nicely. You could tell that the race pace, I guess, wasn't quite there at the end. We were dropping off with tyre wear or inconsistency or just lack of rhythm. I don't really know what I could do to explain the lack of pace there, but as the race settled in, the AI found their rhythm, and yeah, we were found out a little bit there. So it looks like tyre wear, not great on this car. We are lacking chassis upgrades, so I guess tyre wear is one of them. So potentially a 2-stop is on the cards for this US Grand Prix. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, you don't need me to remind you that Formula One is now so beloved in the United States that we race here 3 times a year. But let's give respect to Cota, or the Circuit of the Americas, to give it its full name. This place laid the foundations for this moment and still remains the host of the US Grand Prix.
Well, here we are then. We are ready and on the grid for this race. P5, no grid penalties to speak of for, well, any of the race leaders. That's to be said. But soft medium looks like it's the default strategy of choice. Everyone on the softs, barring Alexander Albon on mediums. That's the first time in a while I've seen such solidarity through the whole field regarding race strategy. So it looks like we'll probably follow suit. But whether we do the 1 or the 2 remains to be seen. 2-stop is 7 seconds slower than the 1-stop. But honestly, based on that running in the sprints, we really dropped off after like lap 6 or 7 in that race. And I don't want to subject myself to more of that and more aggressively in a longer form race. So I think we're going to be aggressive here, guys, and we're going to go soft, medium, soft. If you go back to the race strategy there is a big opportunity of undercut as the AI are going to go really long on their softs to make the 1-stop work. So we could get a massive undercut, maybe become the race leader or dodge all of the battling in the midfield, charge on with our mediums, and then be quicker, way quicker than everyone else on the hards at the end. So we'll see how this goes. 5 red lights, and away we go for the main Grand Prix. Good start from Lando Norris there as he looks to displace his teammate Lewis Hamilton heading into turn 1. Side by side with Alonso. We don't care about that. We go round the outside of both a Mercedes and a Ferrari to go into the top 2. It's another electrifying start here in Cota, up into the top 2, and it's all set up by this. Round the outside, everyone was going defensive heading into turn 1, trying to look after what they had, but what they didn't realise was an aggressive Australian going round the outside and getting that OP traction that we love to see on this game. Into P2, George Russell is next in the Ferrari, but unfortunately we just don't have the means to really fight it with him. Hamilton going aggressive off this start to try and get back P2 in this race. We gave him the big squeeze. It's not very often we're going to be in a scenario like this, guys, where we can fight for a win with this level of car. Leclerc down in P5 in the drivers in this race. Leader of the drivers' standings currently. It's worth fighting for P2 this hard. It really is. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. Hamilton is very quick and is doing his best to put me off, to hold me up, to do anything he can to get a leg up on us so far in this race. But there's nothing I can really do about Hamilton here. He is going to get the spot. A bit of contact there. Right rear on left front. Completely instigated by me there. We shuffle him defensive. We go round the outside, try and get the flowing run. We'll have the inside for the next right-hander, and we will make this stick. All this battling, though, is allowing George Russell to get away. But I really want to get the maximum out of this race that I can. If Leclerc scores 10 points in this race, and we can get 18, and keep up this level of momentum and more going forward with further races, it's our best chance of winning the title. I really, really want to give this a solid go, and I'm going to do everything I can to do that. Nice little attempted switch back on Hamilton. Hopefully we get the DRS here. I'm just trying... No.
Try to keep focus.
Hamilton gets the DRS. So my, I guess, knowledge of where I think the DRS line is wrong. That's or I just mucked it up at the last second. Either way, Hamilton is through now for P2. Hamilton is through now for P2. Is all that battling in vain? Probably. But now we got to make sure we stay with him and don't lose DRS, because if we lose DRS, we're going to have the same problem we had with Hamilton, but now with Alonso. So that's not ideal. Leclerc P5 still there, hanging in there in the DRS and slipstream of Fernando Alonso. If we can tag along with Hamilton, which is not going to be the case anymore, that's no longer viable. 1.3 seconds clear of us. I was hoping to get dragged along towards Russell again, but that is just out of the equation. Lap 6, and now the effects of tyre wear, much like in the sprint, are starting to rear their ugly head. So we are going to box now. This is our, I guess, last hopes of winning the race, or springing an upset in this race. We're going to go for the massive undercut, go on to mediums, and we're going to lap like a second or two quicker than the race leaders by going on to this new set of tyres. And we're going to be able to keep this up for at least 6 laps, I'd say, before the AI have to come in. So if we play our cards right, we could be in the lead of the Grand Prix once all the pit stops shake out. However, we have to overtake a lot of cars here, a lot of back markers, which we are going to rapidly catch up to. But then, of course, we have to make another stop towards the end of the race. Now, let's hope for a safety car towards the end, because that would really set us up nicely for this race. But in the meantime, we have to go full send to try and lose as little time as possible to the race leaders. We've got to strike while these tyres are new to maximize our chances in this race. We're not going to waste any time. Literally any time. We have to be ruthless in our pursuit to getting back to the front of the field. We have to get these moves done stupidly early. So no battling, no squabbling, no half-ass moves. Full send, like this one here on Sonoda. Straight diagonal to the corner. We shortcutted our way in a way to the inside, and we take back P19 in this race. Sargent up next. I don't want to go to the inside. That'll compromise me through the last corner. So much like we did to Ocon, we go around the outside and we get the exit that is required. Straight away, we got to get De Vries as well in the DRS and slipstream. So we're going to go full send into turn 1, and he shouldn't be able to find us there. New tyres versus old tyres is extraordinary, the difference between the two. And coupled with that as well, we got a much better car than the AlphaTauri. So we didn't want to get held up. That frees us up massively through this first sector, where we can utilize the new mediums to good effect. Not even purple to the first sector. I guess that's down to the squabbling with De Vries at turn 1, but that's fine. We are going quicker than anyone on circuit right now with these new tyres in free air. So much so that we're undercutting everyone in the midfield. Arguably, maybe we've already undercut Russell at this point, but we've got to keep going just to keep up that that tempo, that momentum. Of course, we need to build 15, 16, 17 seconds in order to get close to being able to strike at the end. So we've got to make up a lot of time. We've got to make a pit stop's worth of time in this race to be a factor of being a podium in this one. Because if we stay down on the one stop, I really don't think we had the pace to stay there in the top 3. So this is my attempt at beating Charles Leclerc at the end of the day, is the person who I want to beat in this race. He's got the biggest lead I've seen in a long time for career mode driver standings. So we're going to do our best to eat into that if we can, and hope that we can kick on with developments going forward. Up the inside of Magnussen. There's my teammate. Parking the bus, as always, in P14. Unfortunately, not close enough to dive it up the inside into here, but we might be close enough to dive into the double left. Or do we go the outside? We're going to go up the inside and get that done nice and quickly, because there's a yellow flag somewhere on the circuit. I think it's one of the Aston Martins out of this race. Carlos Sainz is done in this US Grand Prix, and that could spring an unwelcome safety car. If a safety car came out now, that would suit the one-stoppers down to a T, because they go hards to the end. And, well, they'd probably struggle on their hards, but they'd probably be able to make it to the end regardless, and probably get all the track position on me. Anyway, thankfully, no safety car. We do get, though. Here's a bit of DRS. Contact with Bottas as we're trying to get Albon as well. Big slipstream, round the outside. Super late under brakes. Marble on the tyres and all. But we...
Brilliant manoeuvre. 2 places at once. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 4.8 seconds.
Couldn't have said it better myself. 2 places in one go. Thank you very much, Mark. And now we get on with the job. Another bout of free air to the next group of cars. And now we see race leaders in. This is Charles Leclerc, not George Russell, our race leader. Onto the hards goes Leclerc. And a bit of a slow re-entry into the fast lane of the pit lane. But away he goes for his final stint of the race. Now, crucial that the AI are going onto hards as well, by the way, because the hards are pretty rubbish on this game. But the AI have no choice. If they want to make this one-stop work, they have to go hards. So we're going to have maybe even a pace advantage already on AI, on new hards. That's the dream. That would help us win this race. If we don't have the advantage on them in hards, then we're going to struggle to win this race. But we'll try and do our best. Alonso really hanging out long here on those soft compound tires. He could probably go mediums to the end now and get to the end. So it'll be interesting to see what Aston Martin do with that strategy. But Russell rejoins only 5 seconds behind us. Unfortunately, that gap is not as big as I was hoping it to be. I was hoping it was going to be closer to 6 or 7 seconds given the nature or the massiveness of the undercut we were getting. But now Russell is going to close us in massively over the next 5 laps before we get to our pit window to get to the end. So it's crucial that we limit the damage to Russell. But I think we're just a passenger in this because we just don't have the pace of that Ferrari. He is absolutely flying on those hard compound tires. The best thing we can do now, guys, is to just keep Russell behind us because that limits the damage that he can do at this phase of the Grand Prix. So the longer we keep him behind us, the more sting we can take out of his sub 25% tires, the better. And then it just comes down to whether we can make up a pit stop on one set of soft compound tires to get us to the end. So in terms of a pit stop, we're probably looking at lap 17, 18, 19. The longer we can leave it, the better. But we don't want to leave it too late to underutilize the softs. We need to give ourselves enough time to catch up and win the race at the end. But we also don't want the tires to die off. So it's interesting balance we need to strike right now. But the crucial part is we are leading this race. We are leading this race and limiting the pace of George Russell. I think if we can get the other cars involved as well as we lift off massively to try and let Russell overtake us there because I was worried about DRS. He actually overtook me off the circuit as I was trying to play some DRS chicken. He's overtaken me off circuit, rejoined dangerously, but also done an illegal overtake. If I did that to AI, that's a 5-second penalty. George Russell has got away with an illegal overtake and arguably a dangerous re-entry. Yes, let's not gloss over the fact that I lifted off on the racing line, but he had ample time to react and go to the inside, which is what I thought he'd do, to be honest. But no, he went off circuit to overtake me and has gone unpenalized for that moment. He goes up the inside into here though, and had to leave him the space right at the last second. Had to go off circuit to accommodate that. Thankfully, no warning for us, and we're able to carry on with our track position. But lap 18 now, 10 laps to go. I think this is probably about time we make a pit stop to get to the end. I feel like the tyres should make it on softs to the end. I mean, Alonso did 13 laps on softs at the start of the race, so we should be able to do 10, and hopefully 10 is enough to make up the time to catch up to these guys. But I really don't know. These tyres probably will die off a little bit in the last 2 laps. Nice little switch back there on Hamilton as we retake P2, and we should get DRS on Russell. So if we want to, we probably could stay out again on this lap, on this next lap. But like I said, I kind of want to box to give myself enough time to chase them down at the end. It's like test match cricket, really. When do you declare your innings and give yourself enough time to bowl out the opposition? That is essentially what we're doing here. Every day I find myself making more and more cricket comparisons to F1. But anyway, into the box we go. Onto soft compound tyres. If there is a VSC or a safety car, then that will help. Well, VSC doesn't really help us now. But if a safety car comes out, that would certainly throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Into the pit lane.
Right, let's go. Come on. That was a fantastic stop. Faster than we were expecting. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
And out we come in P11. So you can tell we've made progress. The last time we rejoined on the circuit, we were last. So a lot less traffic to deal with on this occasion. And now we've got better tyres. And our opponents are going to be slower at this stage of the race on older tyres, on worse tyres, hard tyres. So the difference between our strategy and their strategy now should be humongous. Anyway, track limits warning. We are going full send. I don't know how many warnings we've got, if any, so far, apart from that one on screen right there. I think we've been pretty disciplined up until this point, but now we need to go full send. There's only 8 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, and much like we did in the last stint rather, we need to be ruthless in our overtakes. So making sure absolutely we don't get held up, especially through like a high-speed section, like in Sector 1 through those S's. If we get held up behind anyone, then that could be catastrophic. So full send. Let's see what we can do. We will get DRS on the McLarens on this opening lap, this first flying lap on the softs. There goes Bottas, already going defensive, and we're going to take that avenue to go around the outside and get the slipstream off of Piastri. Piastri not playing ball there with Bottas. He could have actually been slipstreaming his teammates, and that would have made all the difference. But hey-ho, we've got 2 McLarens in one straight, and now we're P9 in this Grand Prix. And as I said, being in clear air in this section is absolutely crucial. Now we can crack on and try and better our previous fastest lap of the Grand Prix. If we're lucky, we might be able to get DRS on Gasly by, the start-finish straight is what I was aiming for, and here we are. Again, it's 2 teammates fighting me off. Again, Gasly goes off the racing line. I get the slipstream of Ocon. Teammates not working together. I'm not surprised in the case of Ocon, by the way. Around the outside we go. Logan Sargent is out of the Grand Prix. Could that be a safety car? That would almost certainly guarantee us a podium in this race. Would bunch up the field and would make my life a whole lot easier. Unfortunately, the FIA not listening to my pleas in this race. But we move on. Try to get around the outside of Ocon there like we did on the first lap. He was a little bit more aware to it this time. But we get the slipstream on the Alpine driver, and that is pretty easy work. Trying not to use battery, as we're going to let the DRS do the work for us. We need to save that battery for, I guess, unconventional areas of the circuit if we're going to make a move. But for the time being, we're going to use that ERS to kind of close in on the 2 Red Bulls. It's interesting. A lot of teams like fighting in tandem. That's the race leader. George Russell has just spun on his hard compound tyres and is not rejoining on the circuit. He has just bottled the lead of the Grand Prix, and we've overtaken him as well. Safety car has been deployed. I think George either didn't get the car running again or stalled or something. He had some troubles, getting up to speed. Maybe he was waiting for a gap in the field to just do that flick spin to get back on track again. But no, the stewards have thrown a safety car, and much to my delight, we're going to have free reign at the race leaders on semi-used soft compound tyres. We've done a few flying laps on them now. They're still below 25%, crucially, I think. So we'll be able to crack on with 3 laps remaining to have a go at winning this race. So that is absolutely huge in the context of this race. Safety car is in at the end of this lap, and we're going to have a crack at the 2 Red Bulls, a Ferrari, 2 Mercedes, to see if we can win this race. Fernando Alonso also in the mix on the podium as well. I said there was 2 Mercedes. No, there's only 1 in that fight. Here we go. Ready for green flag running. Let's get a good exit here relative to Verstappen. I want to overtake him into turn 1 and get this job done as soon as I humanly can. Verstappen using a bit of overtake as we get underway with a restart. Once again, heading into turn 1. We go green really late at the restart, but we timed that pretty well with the dive bomb up the inside of Verstappen and into the top 5 now. Minimum, I want a podium in this race, but crucially, we still want to beat Leclerc in this race, who is P2. Let's see what we can do. Dive on Perez. Oh my word, the confidence on new tyres versus old is absolutely sublime. It's crazy what new tyres do for you on F1 23. I guess it's a lot less noticeable when you're in the grind and you slowly have to adapt your braking point as the tyres degrade. But when you switch from old tyres to new tyres, wow, the difference in just overall performance in all facets of this racetrack. But Alonso is next. Oh, I could have maybe gone for a dive there. Would that have been audacious? Yes. Would that have been bold and potentially leading to some contact? Yes. But I do wonder if maybe that little bit of hesitation has cost me the win there. Slipstream on Alonso. Unfortunately, no DRS on this straight. We will have to wait for the back straight to get some of that. Round the outside of Alonso we go. And that should be the podium done and dusted. Next is... Oh, here comes Alonso! Oh my word, he actually went for that with overtake as well. Thankfully he backed out of it, because that could have caused me some big headaches. But yeah, we retained P3 in this race, but 2 laps to go, 1.5 laps to go, and we've got 2 cars we need to overtake to win this race. Late under brakes relative to Leclerc, on the power nice and early. We could get up the inside here. We opt not to go for that. We're not quite close enough. Could we go for the dive, go for the lunge into this medium speed left-hander? Leclerc is using all the battery and all the performance of his tyres left in this race to retain P2 in this Grand Prix. Those hard compound runners are still going to have decent pace now on this last lap, but crucially, they've saved up their battery to go full send for a fastest lap attempt. Here we go, last lap of the Grand Prix, up the inside of Charles Leclerc, the championship leader. Look at the marbles on the inside left tyre. That is not great for our overall performance. It's going to take a corner or two to shake those marbles off. But Lewis Hamilton just about holding on at this stage. Last lap of the Grand Prix. Final throw of the dice here. Unfortunately, we're not really in DRS range at the activation or the detection line. We're within a second now, but it's too late to get DRS. And we're out of battery to really do anything on the straight. So it looks like, without any crazy issues, Lewis Hamilton is going to go on to win this US Grand Prix. It's been quite the comeback from us, absolutely cheesing that left-hander. You can cut that so much on this game, even on strict corner cutting. But yeah, utilizing everything we can to try and get close to Hamilton to give us half a chance. Could we maybe do an Alonso-style lunge into the last corner? I'm not too sure. I don't think we've got the performance to pull that off. These tyres are now starting to go off. And Hamilton, I think, is off the hook here. He's going to go on to win the US Grand Prix. But us in our Marduk Motorsport car, we've beaten our championship rival. We get 18 points on the 2-stop. The safety car saves us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a really strong drive and a great finish. Well done.
What a result. We did not have the pace for this on a 1-stop.
A truly magnificent drive and a great performance from the entire team, securing victory here in Austin. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Well, there we go, guys. We gave it our absolute best shot this weekend, trying to go all in for the win. And yeah, we just missed out. A couple of moments here or there made all the difference, hesitating behind Leclerc. But crucially, Alonso as well, not getting DRS on the last lap on Hamilton. Made all the difference in keeping him in P1. But all things considered, you know, given the natural pace of the car, how crap we were on our tyres, to pull off a 2-stop, saved by the safety car to some degree. Would have been interesting to see where I could have got without that safety car. Certainly wouldn't have been as good as what we did. But yeah, fast lap to boot as well. 23 points overall for the weekend, and we gained 2 points on Charles Leclerc in the driver's standings. Overall, I can't complain at a car that is severely underdeveloped. Well, not severely, moderately underdeveloped compared to our rivals. That is a fantastic result. And we'll only keep up this intensity from here. I'm going to keep upgrading for one more race. We'll see how we get on in the next one. We still have upgrades trickling in. But nothing too crazy. We'll have to get back to the hub, I guess, and check the status of upgrades and things we can do. But yeah, it's an uphill battle. We are 88 points shy of winning the driver's title in our opening season. Bearing in mind, there is an asterisk. We should be 19 points closer, maybe even a little bit more, because of the win that got taken off of us with the red flag in Hungary. If need be, we will make our own driver's standings to factor in those points changes, but I hope for my sanity that it doesn't come down to that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I know it's very split at the moment as to whether we should keep upgrading this season or focus on next year. For the time being, we're not compromising next year yet. We can still save all the upgrades required to hit the ground running for next season at this stage. But in about 2 rounds' time, we do need to make a decision. That is entirely based on results we get in the next couple of races. Thank you guys so much for watching. I need to peace out really quickly because Creator Series is starting in 40 minutes as I speak right now. As you're watching this, come watch me on Twitch. I'm already live doing Creator Series at the Hungarian Grand Prix. I hope I'm winning. I hope I'm doing well. I hope I'm having a fun time. Link in the description to follow me on Twitch. You won't regret it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.